Well, here it is 2 days late now at 8 o'clock on the 16th of February. Welcome to the Motley Croc Show. I know it's still getting sent out, so there will be some alerts and stuff going on. So I'll go ahead and grab Jeff. What's going on, buddy?
How about you?
How are you?
I love this new headline feature, man.
I love it too, man. It really does really well. You know, I think it's good that they're finally doing it on a professional thing, I guess. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Giving you a little bit more leeway to be, do a little bit more stuff, and I like it, man. There goes the neighborhood.
Oh, look, it's a headliner. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, it's very good. It's one of those really good things. So,
sorry, Brittany, boys only.
That's all right, Brittany, boys only. All right, I'm getting ready. What I'm going to do is, everybody, thanks for coming into the Motley Croc Show. I am going to bring in. I've got another good guest coming in. One of my really good friends from way back in the day man. They're growing up, so there'll be some stories, maybe some laughs. But we'll get into a bunch of topics tonight. There's a couple things I want to go over with, but I'm going to go ahead and grab them and bring them in, and we'll get it started, and we'll just go from there. What's up, Britt?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing, man?
Oh, living the dream.
It's been it's been a long time. Britt's out in Colorado. How's that weather for you, buddy?
Is that Brittany?
That's Brittany.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, remember when she was little?
I remember your mom. I remember that, yeah. She had you on her lap in a white dress, brushing your hair, listening to Elvis. Remember that.
And look at her now.
Oh, yeah.
And look at me now. I've got
Look at all that Elvis back there, Britt. What's up, Michelle? How are you?
Good, doing well.
How's the business treating you? Good?
Yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah, dude. Tell me about it.
Hey, it's better than working in corporate America, that's for damn sure.
Listen, I couldn't agree more with that.
I mean, it lets you be creative, and it gives me that option to, enjoy the money I make and travel and do what I want to do. So I'd rather do that and deal with the minor headaches that I have now than what I used to. So
I'll tell you what, man. It's nice to be able to do what you want to do, but you got thing. What's up, David Zeke? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I think it was. We got people coming in on the side here of the screen, though, Brett. So you'll hear us say hello to a lot of people as they pop in and out on us. Yeah, man. With today's climate, for lack of a better term, there's a lot of who is that hiding in the dark? That's Brett Stevens. That's a really good friend of mine from way back in the day. Michael Foster, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Michael.
But anyways, with today's climate, it's a lot. We have so much to deal with anyways. I guess it's better to not have to deal with other added BS like shooting down weather balloons and gun laws. What's up, man? Now you're really bright now. I see you.
You're too bright now?
No, you're good. You look good. We can see you now. Really good.
Hey, go back to the dark again. I'm going to compare. And
Yeah. Turn it off.
really better.
Yeah, with the way it goes, and I know you were going to touch on some of those topics too, Jeff. You said there was some new gun law or something now with that and marijuana in Florida. Now he's in Colorado. Rule down there.
The federal judge declared that it was unconstitutional to keep medical marijuana users from having firearms.
That's not going to happen.
So that means we're going to be able to carry firearms now and not go to jail?
Damn right. You can take my joint and my gun from my Cole's head hand.
I love it, bro. That's so fucking funny, Jeff. Now, yeah. So in Colorado, so let's jump over to Colorado for a minute. Here, Brett, just let me give you a rundown. We can get medical marijuana here, which is, it's all indoor grown and it's really good stuff. It's a
reasonable.
It's a very good thing. But we have guidelines. So like you get a medical card, you're allowed certain things, the ointments, flour, oils,
edibles
for sure.
Repositories.
There's another one. Yeah, think about that. Shoving it up your ass. The which is good for young children. Like now it's okay now. Whoever dictates this shit, it's okay now to give pediatrics marijuana for autism or forms of Asperger's or cancer or
seizures.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay now. So I was noticing when I was up at the dispensary, and I'm saying this to you, Brett, because I know you guys got different dispensaries. It says, pediatric care, discount now for,
40% off, right?
Right. For children, right? Because, there's little kids that have, think about a child with sensory issues. right? Too bright lights, loud noises, crowds, overwhelming smells, things like that. This will balance. This balances it out. It balances it out.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
we have these guidelines. So you're only allowed so much, Brett. Like in the beginning when Florida started, you could give it just about whatever you wanted, right? You could go in and you could like, I need some of this or that. Now it's like, well, you're almost at your peak of what you're allowed to have for this month. And, you can go back to your doctor or whatever. Now, I'm assuming, because I've been to Vegas, Colorado, and different parts of the world or the country where we're allowed to buy whatever we want. What's up, Ange? Good to see you. How about it, Brett? Like you go to a dispensary, are you allowed, since it's recreational, they don't give a shit how much you buy out of there, right?
Be honest with you, I'm surprised you can't buy a skunk at 7-Eleven anymore out here. I mean, you can do whatever you want. They've got weed for your animals now. So
Captain needs weed, dude.
It's everything.
Needs it, Jeff.
Yeah, it's everything. So I mean, there's really no. I guess I don't know if it passed or not, but they were pushing something around here in Colorado about having mushrooms be legal.
Yeah,
I think
they're doing that in a lot of
Oregon.
Yeah, I think it passed. So now we'll have people tripping balls driving down I-25. So we'll see.
I mean, the good thing about mushrooms is they are absolutely proven to help with depression, long-term, severe depression, quitting alcohol for alcoholics, quitting cigarets, tripping balls.
If it's used correctly, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, so does cordyceps.
I
mean, cordyceps will do the same thing without getting you high and tripping euphorically too.
What were you saying?
Cordyceps will do the same thing.
I don't know. I mean, there's so much good evidence-based information that psychedelics, especially ketamine, psilocybin, which is in mushrooms, DMT, that this stuff, people who were lost as far as treatment for depression goes, used the psychedelics for a permanent fix. This isn't something you have to do all the time.
So it's like you do a little treatment and you're done.
Right, and you can do maintenance if you need to do maintenance. Like if you go to a concert, you need to do maintenance, and if there's
like a concert. So it's awesome, Jeff.
I was actually thinking about doing our legal version in Florida, which is ketamine treatments, and now they send it to your home, and you get a little box with your ketamine, and they put you through online counsel, like online guidance and everything like that, and people are swearing by it. Myasthenia gravis, which is a head to foot paralysis brought on by anything.
Right.
So there's so many uses, and it's got recreational uses for people that want to go that direction. But most
I think what I always found interesting, Jeff, and I'd like everybody's opinion on this. Like, so what was that? What was his name? Bourdain. He was a cook, chef, right? He had a show. Michael Bourdain.
Oh, Anthony Bourdain.
Well, he killed himself.
Yes.
Okay.
I got to see him live right before that here in Tampa.
So here's an interesting thing. So I was watching this whole documentary on the study of psychedelic mushrooms, and if you watch it, you start seeing all these celebrities that did. They all seemed at the end become like this, so aware that they killed themselves. I find that intriguing. Because he was saying that, it's almost like we're kept in a fishbowl. And we got a big promotion show here. Let me see what we got here.
Oh yeah, it's for Dogecoin. I think that's way gone, dude. That died a long time ago.
Oh,
I made a couple $100 real quick though. Yep. Troy, where'd Troy go? He disappeared.
He's gone.
He went to dogehype.com.
He went to go buy it.
Yep, he's buying Dogecoin for 18 cents, hoping it makes $1.
Yeah, he's literally gone.
Well, so Brittany, you take over your family.
Well, I can say it's like a huge surprise to see Brett, because I haven't seen Brett.
Okay, they kicked me off, Jeff. The minute I said that, again, I was telling Brett this, and sometimes I'll use certain words. They kicked me off, Brett. That's what just happened.
For what word?
Because I said the word unlive themselves. Okay? So this meta thing got me and threw me off again. So I'm sorry that I cut out like that. I was trying to see what people were saying about that, but man, they cut me off, bro. What the heck? I hate it when they do that. Anyways, go ahead, Brittany. Finish what you were saying. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm sorry, they just threw me off real quick, and we got a lot of comments. Go ahead.
No, I was only just saying I haven't seen Brett since I was like 7 or 8. But probably 8 would probably be the last time I saw Brett. So it's really crazy to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Well, it's good to see you guys. It's really good to see you.
It is. It's really awesome.
It's a family reunion.
We go back to like we're kids. What I'm going to do, Brittany, is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get rid of this. They're spamming me a little bit now in my private chat. So I'm going to be listening real quick, but talk about your some of the stuff you were talking about with these spy balloons and what kind of information you got, because I think some people want to hear about that. For those of you that don't know, that are new to the show, or even Brett, just to tell you, Brittany is now a professional ufologist, and so she does actually study this type of stuff. And like I used to think it was like crazy shit, but it's not. I guess it's a real thing. And I used to ball bust her, ufologist, a UFO, but it turns out it's the real deal. Okay, now with that being said, she has different connections now and worked on a lot of different TV shows. Worked with those sisters on that whenever Ghost Ship, whatever you were doing down there, and that alien show, and all these famous people. And I guess you're going to be at Roswell. Am I correct? You're going to the Roswell convention. You're going to be a speaker. Man. So now she's a paid speaker. So anyways, with that being said, Brittany, now that I've introduced you so people kind of understand, explain what you were talking about when you were saying that, why I go in and clear this out. I'll be right off scene, but
Oh, okay. So I'll apologize. I'm losing my voice again. This week has been rough calls-wise. No, so in a nutshell, like I know everybody's kind of like what's going on with everything, and of course we're still really up in the air. I know that our president came out and did a White House press conference today to kind of fill everybody in, but it still hasn't really filled anybody in because we haven't retrieved the objects. We do have audio back from one of the pilots who was describing what he was seeing before he took it down. And basically he was describing, and I can't remember which object this was, if it was Alaskan, the Canadian border, or if this was over like the part of Lake Michigan and Huron. So
wasn't there one in South Carolina too, or
the one in South Carolina was the balloon, was the actual spy balloon.
The actual balloon
from Chinese, from the Chinese. However, what's really kind of ridiculous is that here's these other 3 objects, and he gets trigger happy and he shoots them down. We know nothing about them. He shoots them down on territories in which it's going to be hard to retrieve. And then if he just gets, I don't even know why. I don't know why all of a sudden it was like, take those 3 down right now, when you allowed the Chinese balloon to go over our entire United States for 5 days. So basically retrieving a bunch of information in which it was collecting. However, the other 3 objects were 3 different objects of nature, and they weren't necessarily balloons. I know that John Kirby is coming out talking about I think it is John Kirby. I remember. I've got all the Congress names in my head. Anyway, Kirby had come out basically saying that at this point they believe them to be some type of balloon. However, all of the actual pilots have all come out and basically said, I want everyone to be aware that these were not balloon-like materials. We had one that was octangular. We had one that was cylinder. One of the pilots' audio actually came back and said the one object in question that they were firing on was black. It was a metallic-like object that was octangular in shape.
Octagonal, just a point of fact.
So it's just interesting that, so the biggest win here, and I think everybody keeps pushing it aside because everyone wants to call, UFOs and they want to say aliens. We're not saying that they are extraterrestrial, but I will be honest with you, knowing that we don't know what kind of technology this is, and right now they are confirming that it's not from another country, but it is an advanced type of technology because the way that it actually camouflages into our airspace. And I've been dealing a lot with pilots, military, ex-military, and commercial, who have been identifying these objects for longer than what's been actually put out for the general public to be aware of.
Wow.
And they've basically been saying the same thing repetitively, that these objects are flying within our airspace which puts a big safety issue up. Because if we were to get one of these sucked in, it would literally be catastrophic. It would take a plane down like that. And if it's flying within 20 to 40,000 altitude,
which all four
commercial flies constantly. So how do you maneuver around something that is basically suspended in midair without any propulsion? How do you move around that? It's hard. If you go 1,000 feet up, you could be in traffic of another airliner. You go 1,000 feet down, you could be in traffic of another airliner. So
if you stay where you are, same thing.
If you stay right where you are, you could die. Like you could literally crash a plane. So like he was saying with the Chinese balloon and stuff, it was at a much higher altitude. But if that had hit a plane, it would have taken a wing off. It would have been done, just done. There's no coming back from that. So what we're excited about in the ufology work is that the government has now officially made it priority. It is what we've been saying and talking about for a long time. We have not been calling extraterrestrial in nature on all of these. We're saying that we have a major safety issue for our airspace, for our pilots, whether they're military, whether they're commercial, because there are things in our airspace that are of high technology that are maneuvering in ways that we cannot comprehend. If that is an adversary, we have a major problem. And at this point, I'd much rather it be extraterrestrial. I think we'd have a much better chance of dealing with them. But the best win in this is that the topic is actually being discussed. They're bringing in actual personnel that have dealt with these. Ryan Graves was another gentleman that was able to speak on behalf of his account.
With what, like drones and stuff?
Not with the drones, but with these with these unknown objects. Well,
so they're saying that. So you're telling me? I'm just curious because I want to clarify, make sure I heard you correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that they are not from another country, so they're either from America or from the space.
At this point, that's what their speculation.
So Chinese. So it wasn't a Chinese balloon that got out of control.
The first
China.
one.
The first one was because didn't they say China was pissed off the way it was handled or whatever?
Yeah, and they came out and they basically said it was. First, they were saying it was meteorology and it was collecting like weather reports and such. And then when the payload got retrieving, they realized that no, it was actually collecting data of sorts. Now, what kind of data they don't know yet because they're still working on it, but it was collecting data. However, the other three objects they do not know. They don't know what the other. And I just want everybody to understand: a weather balloon is 10 feet long. That's it. It's 10 feet diameter.
Right.
That's very small. That's very small. And these pilots, these fighter jets that flew up, are very, very familiar with weather balloons. Okay. And these pilots are coming back saying, this was something that I have not seen before. So they need to understand that, I know that everybody just keeps wanting to use the balloon analogy because they want to say, well, that's what it is. It's a balloon. At this point, nobody knows what they are and what technology they are.
Do you think that because of the first balloon, we've been hyper vigilant and looking toward the skies, and that's how we discovered the other three objects?
No, what happened is internally.
That was a good question. Thank
you.
Yeah,
I have the answer for that. So basically, after the Chinese balloon was seen and taken down, the DoD went in and re-algorithmed all of their sensors and radars, which then, because over all the years, it's only been pinging airplanes, and it was basically simple software stuff.
It's the UFO.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden they basically cleared it all to ping in everything. Well, when they did that, basically national security popped in and said, oh my God, we now have all of these pings coming in. What are these? And they started tracking them and their movements. And then all of a sudden they started taking them down.
I used to have a neighbor named Ping.
Is Ping the man who sent the Chinese balloon to us, or?
Be careful, they're going to throw us off. God,
I'm telling you.
His name was Aaron.
Hey, what's up, Dan? So I have a couple questions.
Dan.
That was a big one, and didn't they say that the Chinese balloon, to the best of their knowledge, did not have the ability to send information, to broadcast information back? That it was like more recording and then the other thing is, I had heard something about a balloon over the Yellow Sea in China.
Yep.
And I think they discovered it because they sent it up there.
I think honestly right now, the way the Chinese handled the backlash of this, and then also hearing that our president stated that, oh, I watched it actually take off and it was heading to Guam, and then it got off course. The biggest question is then why in God's name did you wait until it was over American soil to then decide, well, I think we need to shoot it down when it's already way across? So if you're already watching it, you've already seen it coming towards Alaska, and you should have shot it down like you shot down the other object over ice, period.
Isn't Guam a U.S. territory?
It might be.
Yes.
In portions it is, yes.
Yes.
So then you have to ask yourself, why would you have allowed it to even head to that direction anyway?
Well, because
no,
I mean,
that's
we all know.
damage control right there.
We all know, but I'm just saying these are the questions from the people. These are the questions coming from the American people that are asking droves of questions, even to the point to where our own congressional house is turning on itself.
I wish. Let me just say.
And basically, both parties are saying at this time, Congress is saying from both parties, Republican and Democrat, we need more answers. You saying we haven't collected it yet, you have nothing to give to us, but we need more. Are we okay? Are we going to be okay? Is everything, and the American people deserve to know, and that's kind of where we're at.
But there's so much political mudslinging about it. The Democrats, throw Republican shit. The Republicans throw Democrat shit. I mean, y'all know how I feel about politics. Red Kool-Aid, blue Kool-Aid. It's all Kool-Aid.
Yeah, all of it.
But, if they would actually have some sort of, across the aisle, bipartisan, investigation and actually get along and do what Congress is supposed to do and actually represent the people that elected them, maybe we could actually make some headway on everything.
Well, here's the biggest topic of issue too right now is the fact that when these last 3 objects were shot down, the DoD created Arrow, okay? And that's basically to identify any anomalies like this, aerial anomalies, right? That is their job. It's the resolution office to take care of these types of issues. When these 3 objects were taken down, Arrow was not involved. Why? You created them specifically for this, for the UAP universe, and you don't even bring them in, which where we have scientists, we have experts, we have leading names in the field study to deal with this type of stuff, whether it be any type of stuff. We're not always saying extraterrestrial. I think everybody jumps to that, but everybody needs to understand the clarification of the terminology. UFO is unidentified flying object. Okay. So that means something in our airspace that is flying that we can't identify. That does not mean extraterrestrial. That does not mean anything. It's just something that we don't know what it is. Not UF.
So
such as UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's the same.
What's a UAB? Unidentified bullshit. Listen.
Well, now they've come out with it's UAO.
I know. I
stop coming out with the analogies. It's the same thing.
There's
yes.
alphabet and everything.
That's what they do. They're trying to move attention and divert attention because this is a thing that people are going to start to get really hungry to know about, and they're going to start rattling cages, and they're going to start, doing stupid shit to find out,
right on that note, hold on a second. I want to intercede a couple things so I can move on to some comments. Did you answer David Brittany about how Demi Lovato was in person?
Oh my God, I didn't see that. I'm so sorry.
All right, I'm going to go through a couple comments because there's some good ones. I want to catch up with people and try to be fair. I'm super curious how Demi Lovato was in person. When you were with Demi, how was she, Brittany? Was she as wild as she is on TV? Or
honestly, I can say I had a great time with her. She was very friendly. She was very nice. We had very good conversations regarding UAPs. Honestly, I have to say I really actually enjoyed talking to her. She was very engaging and a lot of fun. I actually really had a good time with her.
All right, and then we have Lauren Stevens. I can only imagine. I'm your biggest fan, Brett Matthew Stevens. Yeah,
shout out to my daughter, Lauren.
That has to be one of your offspring because that's something a daughter would say, I'm sure. And then Judy came in. Hey guys, there's Judy. That's my mom. Hello. We've got Dan. What's up, Dan? We caught you. Michelle was green. And then Judy says that's why they're doing now over this balloon object issue. And then now we've got Kim. What's up, Kim? It all makes sense. Me want to vomit and gouge my own eyes out, really. And then Katie St. John. Hey, what's up, Katie?
What's up, Katie?
Listen, I always say this. I say this every time. We've been doing the show now for it's going to be almost 4 years, 3.5 years. And now we right before the elections. And I did say a few shows before, there will be some of those terrible events, and I'm not going to say certain things because they'll kick me off.
Yeah,
They started happening. There was some gun violence and stuff starting to happen, and random stuff that they were doing in different schools and things out in different areas that, the way I say it is they always seem to target something that really doesn't seem to matter to people too much. It does, but it doesn't. I don't know how to put that out there correctly, but they're not going to do it in like Denver or Tampa. They go to Texas, to a county that's 700 miles away from really anything major city, and there's a horrible events. Children have lost their lives, blah, 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 distraction. Every single time we start to go back into elections, every 4 years, okay? Now, COVID was like this big fear tactic thing they did. And I'm not saying it's not real, but there it was, right? And then we're distracting against then they start coming up with this island thing and human trafficking, and everything was such a distraction. So now we have balloons flying around, and I think obviously something's going wrong. There's probably a whole lot of truth to it. Also, what if they're just distracting the shit out of us to pull another fucking one over on everybody again? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is it? Why does it always have to be right when, and Trump's running again? Which I'm the only reason I'm looking forward to that is because the bullshit that's going to happen on TV is going to be so fun. We are now a reality sitcom, and it's going to be fucking awesome.
That's what we are. That's what this country's become. A fucking sitcom, dude.
Exactly, but I mean,
you need a laugh track.
I like it, the fact that he's like a nut job. He says whatever the fuck he wants, and I really like the fact that Biden looks like a skeleton with skin stretched over it that says the stupidest stuff or gets up and walks to another direction. It's so humorous that you have all this buffoonism, and somebody asked me the other day, I said, well, I kind of miss Nixon. They're like, oh, what? Nixon was but Nixon, man, he was like, he knew stuff about UFO files. I mean, he was extremely into UFOs and stuff. And
he saw a UFO.
Yeah, but he was a bit of a piece of shit. I mean, he also had files on black leaders, and he had files on Jewish leaders. And
so it's the same thing I told my parents. You can't be a politician on any side and be a good person. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
His biggest crime was getting caught at Watergate, man.
I know.
He was a dumbass.
So I got another one here. It says, Cappy's Exotics. I want to be abducted by an alien. That's probably the only way I can get rid of my baby daddy. Aliens would probably give me less headaches.
Right. Cappy, maybe we can hook him up with my baby mama. Send them both in a weather balloon back to China or something.
So there's like a lot of like those types of distraction stuff. But I will say I'm not someone who doesn't believe that there's other life out there, because I just think there's so much more than we really know. We've been kept in such a capsule for so long.
I just want to say one thing.
It's the best comment I've ever seen. Just saying. Go ahead.
Is the fact that, they learned back in the day. What I followed about this was the way that they decided to shoot them down. And it was basically to say, we're going to wait until it's over water, right? And so they wait to shoot these objects down until they're over water. And you need to think about that strategy. And I want everybody listening to think about that strategy. In 1947, when we did have an unidentified aircraft shot down, blew up in pieces with accompanied pilots on that vessel, the locals, up to like 30 people, collected material from that downed object. And the government had to go around, collect all those pieces of object, threaten people, even military personnel. And with that, they learned a very valuable lesson. You don't shoot down where the general people can collect anything, right? So you need to keep that in mind. There's a strategic reason why they shot these particular objects, whether they're adversary.
Yeah, they're decoys.
No, whether they're adversary or they're extraterrestrial. In my opinion, from history, they shot them down in areas in which public cannot go and retrieve. You shoot them in lakes.
Okay, but on the flip side of that,
no one's going to retrieve anything.
But on the flip side, do you really want to shoot something down over a residential area? So, like there's this machine in the sky, right?
If it's a threat,
over and they go, there's a bunch of kids playing in the street, and this thing falls, and all this acid comes, and kids' arms are falling off, and eyeballs are dangling. Wouldn't you rather shoot it over where you wouldn't hurt somebody?
Yes, but do you realize that where these objects were, there's thousands of free acreage to shoot something down? And
Sure,
the
so it
worst
tells me
part
that
is-
they know what's going on. It's all a big show. It's a TV show, and we just got to ride along.
But
We're
all I'm
tuning in.
saying is,
It's a Truman
on the
Show.
inside, the questions are: you shoot a missile that
Truman
misses
Show.
the object, okay? You then claim we followed that missile all the way into the lake and it landed into the lake. Well, did you mention if it detonated? Did it go off? Or is it just sitting there waiting to go off? So when somebody decides to go through Lake Huron, that's just going to blow up one day. That question has not been answered. Second,
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying, and they're blowing up trains now too. So I guess.
well, what's going on in Ohio is absolutely ridiculous. It sounds like an apocalyptic beginning of apocalyptic movie. It's crazy, and no one's talked on that. Our president hasn't talked on that either. To say,
Look
hey,
at
I'm
my zombie
sorry.
movie.
He's too busy doing this.
The problem
Listen, man.
is this is the issue.
My son's a hero. My son's a hero.
The public doesn't want to hear any more from the representatives of the House.
Right.
They want to hear from what's really going on. And they're not sending out the generals. They're not sending out those in charge. And when you don't do
They're in
that,
a bunker.
you're aggravating the general American people because those people are smarter than you're giving them credit to. And they're not dumb. But
Knock it off.
you shoot down objects that no one can retrieve anything from. And I get, in part, you don't want people to access anything. Like I was mentioning to you, Troy, earlier this week. You don't want to retrieve anything that could be of importance if it's an adversary. Like some things have recording boxes in it, and you really need to know what they're from, and you can identify the country. But on the other side, you look on the side of the community of ufology or the UFO community, and you go, if it's extraterrestrial in nature, you don't want the general public having that either, because then you can't cover it up. Because now you've got them coming and saying, I have a piece of the material, and I'm telling you it's nothing we have on our planet. Then they can't cover it up and say it was a weather balloon like they did in 47. So there's things to it that we have to pay attention to. But the exciting thing is that this topic is being discussed. It's being talked about and taken serious. And now they've created another new task force to handle it because of the magnitude of it. So it's good. It's good that it's being talked about. It's good that it's moving in that direction, and it has to. So,
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're moving in a direction, I mean, the way things are now, that it's just going to be, it's going to be like pushing a brick wall from both sides. It's not going to go anywhere. Everybody hates everybody so fucking much. It's instead of whining about drag queen story time or fucking Hunter Biden's laptop or, what color Trump's skin is today or how Biden's a moron, anything. It's time to put up or shut up, to actually represent the people that elected you, And by the way, does anybody else think that Mitch McConnell looks like the guy that melted in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yes.
In there. Check it out. It's crazy, dude.
When he opened it up, he's like, yes.
Yeah.
So I know this is kind of like a depressing thing, we're a subject we're on with all this stuff, but for me, and Jeff, and definitely Brett, we grew up in there was this kind of shit going on. One of my beliefs are, and I could be dead wrong, I believe a lot of this has always been going on. But Brett and I, when we were young, we had pagers and a pocket full of fucking change, right? You couldn't just pick up your phone, open it up, and I go, oh, aliens are attacking Tampa, and then they're bombing. You're like, oh my God, Facebook friends, share, 6,000 people, share. So, like they were talking about, well, back in the 50s, there wasn't things like this going on. No, they were just child molestation, beating the shit out of their wife for not making a sandwich. You just didn't hear about it in the neighborhood over because they didn't broadcast it all over the place, right? So all this weird shit now, we have so much access to. And now we are creating this monster, right? So now there's kids that are coherent that get on and they listen to this stuff and they may be emotional. Now they're scared. Now you're creating paranoia, fear, what's next? Well, take this pill and, make you feel better. Now you're taking another pill and you take something you don't know. And now and everything is so accessible. It's so accessible. Like, Brett, do you remember when we were young, the internet was like, whatever, dude. It was like it's a grocery list, floppy drive.
It wasn't even.
Now you can type in there, fat man fucks bunny balloon, and you're gonna find videos on it.
Wait, post a link.
It's different though. Back in the day, though, to touch on what Brittany was saying, though, is This shit's been going on for years and years and years before we were born. And
Cuban Missile Crisis.
I'd like Brittany. I'd like you to get my number from Troy and give me a call sometime.
For sure.
I really do. I really
I'll send
do.
it to her now.
I know we'd spoken before, and I sent you some pictures and whatnot. But I want you to give me a call when you get some spare time. But you got to ask yourself the scary question, folks. Nobody wants to. I mean, they legalized propaganda in the U.S. in 2014. I mean, that tells you a lot. I mean, what we're being fed is complete bullshit.
Yep.
And, you know, we're talking about these UAPs and everything like that. And it's like, doesn't it ring a bell to you that within seconds they knew it was Chinese? I mean, who the fuck? Yeah, come on. You know, let's just be real about it. I mean, let's ask yourself the scary questions. And if we're supposed to identify, what's the FAA say about it? Not a fucking thing. Dude, they're all in on it. I mean, that's all there is to it, is to create fear.
I'm there.
No, you're right.
I'm with you, Brett.
Straight down, right? I'm below Troy.
You're straight down from me, Brittany.
I am. So it's all correct tonight?
You're straight down from me.
I'm over here on this side of Jen. Jeff's on this side of me. Brett's there, and you're over here.
Yep.
Okay, so you're here to me or here to me?
I'm right where you pointed the first time.
Brittany, Jeff is on top of your head, and Brett is right to your right shoulder.
The other way. There you go. That's Brett.
Okay. So it's opposite to me. It's mirrored in a weird way. Okay, on my side.
Yeah, no, I agree with Brett that they're all in on it. And you know, if you think that your side is the best side, just know that one day we're going to find like freaking Biden and Trump with their feet up on the couch eating Cheetos and laughing at us all. That's what it's about. There's us and there's them. You know, they're all in cahoots one way or the other, no matter how much they fight, no matter how much they keep us distracted with dumb bullshit. Sorry, I get off on rants about this.
You're right. I agree with you. I don't think anybody disagrees, no matter what side anymore. It's a fucking circus.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, how could you not trust them after what we just saw in the past 4 years? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Think about how
it's so far out of touch. I mean, these pilots and everything that.
God, what are you eating, dude? That was not really important.
Yeah, Brittany.
So it goes back, Brett, to what I said earlier. We have access to everything. So not only are you creating this monster, you can't hide anything anymore.
Yep.
You know, I'm riding down the street, I'm like, oh shit, a Bigfoot. I snap a picture of it. I'm saying that to be funny. I'm going to send it to Brad. I'm going to send it to everybody I know.
Back when we were growing up, Troy, it's like you had to be credible to tell a story like that.
Yep.
Now, like you said, everybody's got the technology. We were watching Star Trek with these little things popping off, and they're talking to each other like, wow, now everybody's got a computer in their hand.
One of my favorites
that's the way it is.
One of my favorites was Time Cop. That motherfucker, he used an iPad, bro. He would use an iPad, and he was scanning pictures, and he'd be falling, and he's on this fucking little iPad looking at their face, and it says the mugshot inmate number, and he's like, in time, and he goes back and fucks them up. But he was using the technology that we're using now to do streams.
Well, the funny thing is, the technology we're using now, no matter how new it is, it's all dead technology, and it's been dead for 20 years. This is the shit they give us.
So right, bro.
Oh, dude.
On our end, it's like new and exciting.
Bigger and better thing and keep making money. I'm sure that Apple already has the iPhone 26. They're just letting them trickle out little by little, just enough for you to get used to it and be like, oh, wait, there's a newer thing that does nothing different than the last 3 things that they put out, but it comes in 6 different colors. And the camera is like, you know, the cameras that they have on phones right now, as far as megapixels go, they're way more than you could ever want to use. I mean,
or you can even use, or your eye even sees. Your eye can't even really see in 4K. That's projected back at you.
Yeah, and you know, it's like I was saying, like since before we were all born, there's always been a generational scare. You know, before my parents had the Cuban Missile Crisis, we had the Cold War. I don't know if you guys had the Cold War, but I did. They used to tell us to hide under our desks in case of a nuclear war. What the fuck is that going to do?
I remember all that.
Gum to chew.
I remember all that. Yep. Yeah, they tell you all that dumb shit. Or we'd have these drills. We'd have to run out to another building and get underneath this and lay flat. And I remember that. And I was like, you know,
there were still fallout shelters where I grew up, and then now it's, you know, I mean, and there was stuff before us too. There's every generation you'll see there's some huge scare to keep people, you know, subjugated and afraid and reliant on the government to take care of them. And that's not what the government's job is.
Sure.
The government's job is to fucking govern, to take our will, the will of the people that elected them, and to put forth that will.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah. You're frozen, Troy.
He is. He's frozen.
I'm soapboxing a little bit. It's been a long day.
Oh, he's back.
Are you guys still there?
We're here now. Yeah, I heard "Hey Jeff" and then it cut off.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm opinionated tonight.
Jeff was on a roll and it was freezing and kicking us all and shutting us all down. It's so weird.
That's what it is, man. It was Hunter Biden's laptop shut us down.
No, I didn't see no little kids genitalia on here.
Right? Oh, this is, like,
wasn't that Hunter Biden's laptop? Didn't he have wasn't he playing with little kids and stuff? Come on,
dude. It was about fucking deals he made in Syria. But then some guy got on Facebook and said, "Oh, they found pictures of little kids," and people just go fucking bananas over it. Bad news travels way faster than good news.
I tell you what, man, that's why the news has always been so successful.
Right? If it fits your narrative, you take it and you run with it, and you repost it and you retweet it, and and everybody sees it, and all of a sudden Hunter Biden is fucking, diddling the Home Alone kid on his fucking laptop. It's ridiculous, dude. Or Trump's hair is really like a Nazi toupee, or what the fuck ever, dude. It's so stupid.
Who cares?
The shit that we get all in a fucking tizzy about. I mean, don't get me wrong, like child molestation is ridiculous, and I'd like to fucking be able to dispatch each and every one of them. But there's no fucking cabal of reptilians that fucking run the world and molest children in pizza parlor basements. It's just not happening.
Now that's QAnon stuff when they take it way too far, man.
Oh yeah, dude. But people run with that.
They're going to bring John F. Kennedy Jr. back. He's going to be resurrected to be the president.
JFK.
Oh my God!
And he's running with Trump in 2024. Mark my words.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to say.
Right.
I remember seeing that guy dead in an airplane in the bottom of an ocean and shit.
Right. Well, don't you know that Hillary Clinton did that? Or whoever, because he was going to run for fucking New York State or New York Senate. Ridiculous, dude.
Maybe Clinton, he might have. Those guys, I wouldn't want to use that name on here. We won't be here too long.
I mean, there's microchips in the vaccine. There's fucking. Oh, dude.
You got me.
Have you heard this is my favorite, that COVID was actually made from cobra venom that was put in the water supply. There's this really shitty documentary.
Those are just animal rights activists.
Right? It's made from fur coats.
I want to say something about that real quick. Animal rights activists.
This is what I got to say to animals.
I agree with what you just said for the most part. I understand that you want to ethical treatment of animals. I agree with that 100%.
I want ethical treatment.
100%.
I've seen the way you treat your animals, Troy. They live nicer than I do.
Well, but I agree in ethical treatment. I don't agree in banning. I don't agree with it's enslaving or whatever. I think that's just a stupid thing. You're enslaved. We all are enslaved.
Fucking
you cannot sleep in a house with AC unless you break your balls to pay the big dog to keep it turned on. You got to go to the grocery store and pay your hard-earned money just to eat. So everybody's in captivity, first of all.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying go out and just take as many animals you can and contain them. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying that these people, I think you have a right to be an animal rights activist.
Oh, absolutely.
What I don't like about you is you don't do your homework. You look at the one side, which is what happens, which goes back to what Jeff was talking about as far as dividing the country. Everybody who doesn't like, Trump's orange hair and his little penis, or Biden's doing this and he let black kids rub his hair on his leg or whatever the fuck he was saying, whatever he said. Oh, and I used to go down and swim with blacks and they'd rub my leg and the hairs would come up. Remember? I was like, what the fuck is this guy even talking about? Anyways.
He doesn't even know, dude.
So I understand we have all this hatred. So if you're going to do something or go after somebody for whatever they do, or know every angle, man. Don't just go and look on, this slaughterhouse video that a PETA person got, or let's not go on this and look at this. Like, and what I find interesting about these people, like, we would never do this. We love animals, and they're holding their cat and their fucking dog.
So they're vegan.
They crack that bag of food open, bro, and you know how many horses got slaughtered to make that? And then I think, okay, that's great. You're going to feed them vegan.
Life,
you need crops, right? So we either have to go in and burn the crops so you can plant on it, or we have to bulldoze it and destroy it so all the little living creatures that live on those grounds have to die so you can plant your asparagus. So come on, man, as Biden would say, get it together. Because I got a couple things today and yesterday about some animal stuff, and like, oh well, you think it's okay to. I think some of these questions are absolutely fucking ridiculous. So
let me. Okay.
Go ahead. Cut in. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've seen the way Troy keeps his animals, and the way Troy keeps his animals compared to the animals in the wild, it's like the animals in the wild are living in a fucking third world country in 1922, and Troy's animals are living in the fucking lap of luxury.
Well, let me say this. The reason that is because I believe, like you do, Jeff, and everybody here, that those animals live with me and they rely on me. They're like kids. So they can't just go down. Hey, Troy, I'm going to swing on down the trees here to the shop and grab myself something to eat at the store, and I'll be right back. Doesn't happen. My lemur's not jumping in the car and driving down to Walmart, man. It's not going to happen. He relies on me. And so since he relies on me and he brings me joy, and everybody that, and I say he, but all of them, and they bring a certain essence of joy, especially, I'm not a people person. I really don't like them. But sometimes, just sometimes, I'll be out and I have the animals out with the little kids. And sometimes, dude, as much as kids annoy me, right? You see the enlightenment. You see they find a drive. Like they could be struggling with something or going through like this extreme loss. And sometimes, all the time, animals, people usually get it out of dogs or sometimes cats, but mostly dogs, give you that unconditional true love you look for.
Yep.
So if you're suffering from depression or you're a military vet, right? Those dogs don't care that you're waking up at night with fucking post-traumatic stress. They're not yelling at you for it. All right, you're starting to piss me off. They actually, I'm here. What do you need? I want to be there. Something to hold on to. It grounds you, right? That's an animal, man. That's any animal.
Oh,
yes, unless you're a certain guy, I wouldn't have her cuddle a cobra. He might do that, and that's okay. But animals bring joy to people. So when you get these little kids, and I say kids between, 14 and 30, and they're talking about, you should never do that, it's wrong and forced, and they have no idea about the real world, how it works, or what it is. I understand, and I'm going to say this in case someone's listening and your heart's reaching, but listen to me. Know what you're talking about before you go after somebody. But I do agree with you. Yes, animal rights activists. Animals should be treated good and loved, and they should have caring too, right? That's why I have a lot of my animals consume meat, folks. I can never put it on a potato with some salt and expect it to live. I have crocodiles, I have monitor lizards, and I have things that eat meat. Okay? So I go out and I buy animals that are euthanized and they're frozen. Right? And they're used with CO2. They go to sleep because they don't have a choice. They have to eat that. If I choose to have them, I have to feed them that. I don't go to the store with my best Billy Bob friend and go buy a live animal to throw it in there on YouTube and watch it suffer.
Right.
Go after shit like that. I believe if you want to do live feedings, because that's whatever you want to feel it is, give the animal the chance to die with respect, just like you. Okay?
Right. Don't
make a fucking mockery out of something because it's less fortunate. Most of the time, they're feeding a tarantula or a big old fat, disgusting frog, something you would see late night at a bar, or a snake. And I'm sorry, but the rat is usually more intelligent than the owner of the snake, and it's definitely smarter than the snake. So it's very aware of what you're doing to it. But we don't get on that. We go after people like me that has an eagle owl that I take out to show kids to be an ambassador for wildlife here. And the problem I have with using that verbiage is because there's so many animal hoarders and there's so many fake rescues and wannabe places that use that defense all the time. Well, I have 21 owls ambassadors to. No, you don't. You're just hoarding owls. So unless you're really helping something because it can't live in the wild again, come on. So I hate using that verbiage, but really it is what it is. And I do the Great American Teach. I go there with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, and the kids get excited. Yes, there's some kids that I would usually want to let the snake strangle. I refrain. But then sometimes they'll come back around. They realize, hey, I was being kind of a tool bag, and let me ask questions. And I really think that's the key. And so now they've eliminated, just so you know, Brett, what I'm saying. What I do is I do interactions with animals, right? And so I let kids touch animals and snakes and stuff. Once you break that contact, if you sat down with your kids, Brett, and you showed them something in a book, right? Say a pangolin or a lemur. and you said, man, we got to protect these. They're cool. And they're going to be like, oh, I will, Daddy. If I see that, I'll support it, whatever. Right? There's an emotional connection to a degree. But when you see one and you look it in the face and it puts its hand on you and you feel it, that connection is grounding, and that will stick with them forever. Because children want to be hugged. They want to interact. They want to play. And primates, as we are, and we were discussing this a while back with Kurt and some people, they found there was a study that, there were gorillas in captivity for a long time in the United States. And they kept them separate from people and from each other. They were scared what they might do. And they became depressed like human beings. So they started implementing touch. So the gorillas would sit next to these openings, and the keepers would start going through the thing and just touch them. And they began to come alive again. They got interaction. They started to, and I mean, that's how you do it, right? And so it's just this whole thing. Well, you shouldn't have gorillas in captivity, and you shouldn't do this. You're right, but in the countries where those gorillas are, there's probably one guy to protect every 20, and there's 40 poachers.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have anything, which is called, just for you animal rights teeny boppers, it's called an assurance colony. Okay, so they can reproduce. And then they work with governments, and then they can re-release into the wild. It's called an assurance colony. Other than that, if there wasn't protection and those governments didn't step in, it has nothing to do with
We wouldn't have those animals anymore.
It has to do with poaching, animal trade, and money. Okay? And I've seen a lot of good people in the industry that I'm in. I'm not a buyer, seller, dealer, or I'm not that. I never was that. There's plenty of those that do it.
I'm a seller dealer.
Well, you breed your thing. I'm talking about the guys that are bringing over, 50 birds and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. You have some offspring. Hey, you sell some of your babies, right? But when it comes down to it, man, there's people in this whole thing, in this whole this connection where they've taken this and made it a monetary terrible thing. What's up, Nico? Good to see you. Special connection that is created not only by increased respect, emotional, supports conservation efforts. Troy, you cannot agree more. Thank you, Nico. Good to see you here. And so, and that's what we want to do. And I know that these guidelines now where you can't touch an animal or you have to ask it if it wants to work, you have to start being realistic. If you go into a 10-year-old boy's room and say, hey, it's time for school, would you like to go? I'm going to say, fuck, no, I'm not going to go.
I want to stay home and party.
Yes, I will be the one. I'll be the elephant in the room. Sometimes with certain animals, you have to enforce enrichment, because you may have an animal that just doesn't have the capacity, even though its species does. But you may have one that may have been hit by a car. You may have one that was consumed poison and it's a little bit slower now. You don't know. So sometimes certain things have to be motivated. And I understand respecting the animal, right? But if you have two elephants and you always ask them if they want to work, and one always walks and the other one doesn't, you're going to kill the one that you're overworking. So sometimes old Henry's going to have to be coaxed out there. Henry, you can have a baked peanut he's going to move. Or you open the gates and ask him if he even wants to be in the zoo in the first place, if you're going to take it to that level. Excuse me, Mr. Elephant. We're going to go ahead and open the gates to downtown here. If you want to stay here, you can. If not, you're free to go. You think they're going to do that? Fuck no. What do we got here? Well, we got a big comment here. Preach my animal saved my life. Let me get into this and read it. No rehab, detox, or even children were enough to bring me back to the end of the world. They saved my life to be here for everyone else, and I give them the world. All my kids love and respect them, especially my daughter, Bella. She is wise beyond 9 years, and it's literally the future of conservation. If we don't teach our children to love and respect wildlife, the future and wildlife is done. Nowadays, kids are so disconnected from nature, and it goes on here, and it kind of was. I guess it was. That's all they let me do. Yes, they are. They're on their phones. They're playing games. They're different. There is no connection. So to me, and I can tell you this, and Brett will remember, when Brett and I were teenagers. I mean, we can get into the interesting story here. We can go over a little bit about how we met. It was quite a fucking trip to be said in the first place. And I'll tell you, I'll lead up to that. But there was this time, I had this cool car. We had the Z. We had the fucking T-tops off, and you're driving. When you have to go from one city to the next city, it's like 40 miles, man. And you're either in the middle of the mountains or you're out there by Golden, Colorado. I mean, and so we saw shit in the sky all the time, man. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Or you'd come across and there'd be like 100 elk in the road. And I don't know about you, man, but when you see that and you pull over and you turn the motor off, and you're around all that, and they're dude, it's overwhelming. It's almost like a supernatural feeling. They're that big. Their energy in that whole group of them there, and I would say herd, I guess would be the proper term. In that whole herd of elk, I mean, you know what I mean, Brett? There's like an energy to it.
Oh yeah.
And
no, there totally is.
And they're massive.
Yeah.
And I've actually spoke to hunters.
You've seen a moose?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those are rad.
Like you look at it, you don't even realize how freaking big they are.
I actually hunters, as they've gotten older, have said I can't kill them anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're beautiful to me. As we humans get closer to our own mortality, we find a little more love. You know, we act a little different, or or we're tough our whole lives and we're kind of rough, and now we just want to be loved, and so we're like trying to love everybody because we had an exterior from a different side. But going back to that, and Jeff, you grew up in an older era too, so you get it, and you grew up in city life. We were out; we'd have to go from city to city, but it was just, you had to stop for lunch along the way. That's all there was to it. But Brett and I were talking this week. We were really just young dudes minding our own business. So there was places like Main Street, and we had the mall, and everybody like hung out, dude. My brother John was a moron, and he always got in trouble. And as much as you didn't want to defend him, sometimes you had to defend him. So to go back a little bit, there was this guy named Chad Stevens that a group of his buddies, I saw him like just clean this guy up one time at a Taco Bell up on the corner of Main and whatever that was, 36 or 66. And the story of Brett Stevens, man. Oh, his brother, man, he's fucking nuts, man. He will kill you. I mean, you have to understand, like, you're younger and, stories get whatever, right? And so it must have been a year, but I would always hear about this guy, Brett Stevens, and I would see him here and there, and he had like long hair, and he had one side like spikes, and there's pictures of it, and it was like his own thing. Like, so in a way, it was admirable because he was doing what the fuck he wanted, and I've always been that person, so I was hated for that too. Trust me, let me tell you. So some guys were in the mall, and I wasn't clear with it because I'm old now, and I was talking to Brett, and he's cursed with like a good memory, so you have to remember what you do and say around him because he's never going to forget it ever. So my brother had started something with someone, and there was this big circle, a group of people, and they were just going to jump him and us, and they were like scumbags, man. And so they start turning around, and they're like, "Yeah, man, Troy, these guys talking shit about you, Brett." Here comes this fucking guy, right up to him, and I remember being in my face. And how did it go from there, Brett? You were like, "Nah, dude." How did it go?
First, there's a little backstory about the town we grew up in. I'll tell you what, it was different. Nothing's really changed.
Right.
People just got stupider. I mean, honestly, they got to a point where I was picked on my whole life. I was bullied every day. I mean, I'd get tuned up on the way home from school, and then that night get jumped again. I didn't have time to heal up. I mean, that was the life. It was bad. Everybody was kind of had that mentality until one day you just decide you're not going to do it anymore. And then you realize you're good at it. So I think what happened was it's just the basic male mentality back when you're a teenager.
Yep.
So you learn how to fight. My whole family was boxers. We were in martial arts, boxing, you name it. So, and I was always taught if I ever started a fight, I would I'd have a beating thrown to me far worse than I'd ever given. So I never fought back until you have to. But, I was also raised by a good man too. And I hated bullies. And I saw that's what was happening to Troy and his brother. And I realized, John, I think I'm not mistaken, he had a purple silk shirt on.
He did.
He didn't.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He didn't have a leg. And I remember these guys were jumping you. You had a white turtleneck on with a chain with a cross on it. I remember.
Yep. Colorado, buddy. Cold as hell.
Yeah, they were telling me that this guy was like saying something about you or whatever. And I remember walking up to you, and I walked up to you, and I'd never seen you before. And I'm a very personable person. I like to speak to you with my mouth, not text, not nothing. I mean, I'm face to face. And I remember asking you, I was like, "What's going on here?" It's like, is this true? And you're like, you said something to me, you're like, hey, if it's going to happen, let's fucking do this or something. And I just kind of chuckled, like, I'd never seen you before. And then I realized that they were going to jump you and your brother. They were going to jump you, like a bunch of scumbag people. And I remember standing next to you. I was like, fuck that, man. I'm with you. And I turned around on the people that I grew up with and looked at and made a choice.
We don't want that, Brett.
And I'm like, nah,
We don't want that, Brett. We don't have a problem with you. I remember.
No, we're gonna sit here and do this. So I don't know. But it kind of goes back to like how you're raised, I guess.
Well,
we just became friends, man. I mean, after that, God, we'd get on motorcycles and ride for 14, 15 hours into
I remember.
Yeah.
Always, dude. Yep.
Yeah, no matter
ice.
what.
Yep. Cold. And that was funny, man. I mean, and it's true because that's what I mean. So now we're tying back into and your daughter threw a humongous comment up here. I'm going to put up in a second.
But it was really good.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's really good, really good. So good job on that, Brett. Good job on that. Raised her good. We would be in the middle. You would be in fights, or we connected. So Brett and I met in a human connection, you know, and I think, and the people couldn't believe it. I think as most people, even when he turned around, they would back away from Brett, not because of that reputation, not wanting to be bullied anymore, to what he had to do to you know, fix that. Right, was enough that made a statement, which is good. It was well earned. And that's how I knew who he was. You know, Josh, my brother Josh, was like, "Oh, that's Brett Stevens, man." And I would see him, and I pretty like just did my thing. I wasn't. You know, there's people got picked for. I don't do that stuff. That's not me. I wasn't out hating on people for that. I just didn't care. I always believed just be you, man. Do your thing, and you want to support people. But I did find unity in certain people. So Brett and I never got in each other's way. Like if Brett had something good, I wasn't like, man, fuck this guy. I'm jealous, and I'm going to sabotage him. I pushed him forward. And he would do it for me. And I think that as young kids, man, you build that's how you build a brotherhood of each other. Because if I push Brett further at that time, like I got your back, whatever. When he gets to the top of that mountain, he's pulling me up. So same for me. If I get there first, I'm pulling him up. So you're supposed to push forward as support. And at a time that we grew up, for those of you that are a lot younger, it's different now. You don't meet like that. You call each other names on the internet and you type things or put crude comments on Facebook or whatever, which used to be MySpace, which God knows what it was before that.
There was consequences to our choices back then too.
Yeah, exactly.
If we had to weigh that out. And people don't realize that nowadays. People think that everything is just going to be okay and they can say what they want and do what they want. And pretty much it's happening. They're getting away with it.
And one thing that I'll tell you guys, and I know there's some of my friends that are listening that are a lot younger than me, that Brett and I could be their parents. The one thing that I always got a kick out of Brett is that he was smart enough and respectful enough when I just addressed the way I dressed. He wasn't like one of those nut jobs because he was dangerous. He probably would have killed me and John with all those guys. What I thought was funny was his own group that he grew up with was like, "Oh, we don't want that." And here I'm thinking, okay, he's going to kill me. This is Brett. But I'm not going to fucking die on my knees, man. I'm not going to do it. And
exactly,
so
but it was
that mutual respect, man. And I you just don't have that anymore, man. And so I think loyalties run deep, and we became like brothers, and that was it. And he was so off the chart, and I was so off the chart. We lived like we were Motley Crue. We just didn't have any instruments. I mean, we never stopped. We slept in fucking rest areas, and we would, God knows, we remember a lot of stuff starts coming back. Right? I remember we'd be places like, wow, we're fucking far. How'd we end up here? And he would always laugh like, fuck it. You know? and maybe at a time in our life, we became drifters, and that might have been hard on us, and we had to grow up. And we did. We grew up. I didn't. And I pretend that I do, and I'm sure Brett does the same. But at heart, I'd still ride 15 hours with him. Yeah. If, you know, we were going to get jumped by a bunch of dudes. And I was going to lead up to that. So on Main Street, we were getting shot at and stuff. I mean, because you looked at a girl, they would shoot through the car. They shot up my dad's truck, and he was mad at us. "Oh, did you have fun target practice on my truck?" I'm like, "No, Dad." Josh was looking at this girl, and this Mexican guy shot through the truck. You know? So we retaliated. We took care of him. No problem. But at the end of the day, that's what we had to do on a day-to-day basis. Like nowadays, everybody can talk, and nobody gets punched in the fucking mouth. And I think that I know that people hate violence, but I think we need that in a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes me Any one of us, you get knocked out once in a while. You learn. I mean, you learn your lesson. Like, oh, whoa, I took that too far. You know, it links you back up in a chain where you should be, man. And we don't have that anymore. We have to stand here and tolerate it. You know,
the thing that's lacking right now is respect. Nobody has respect anymore, and that's society. Society has stripped us from respecting,
especially for
no
life.
matter what.
absolutely.
Anyone, men to men. Men don't respect other men. Women don't respect other women. We don't respect other whatevers, and it's a whole thing of we've just completely been stripped of all respect to where everybody's been given a tool or an outlet to be stupid and say what they want, and there is no repercussion. There is never going to be a repercussion.
No repercussions, no
consequences.
lot of repercussions.
You know, I struggled a lot with lack of sleep. For one, at that time, we worked a shit ton. Me and Brett did a ton. We'd work in a gas station all night. Then the next day we'd be back at work again. So at one point I had 3 jobs at 16 just so I could afford my car and mess around and do what I wanted to do. And I remember working with Brett all night. Like, fuck it, I'll stay up with you, man. We'd hang out at that Total gas station, dude. So, overnight in the middle. I think it was Boulder, right? Was it Boulder?
It was in Boulder, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and the nuts that used to come in over hours overnight were just, it was awesome to me. So, I mean, you know, to this day, we just live such a wide open life, man. I would do it all again. That's one thing I would do again. And so Brett's always had my respect. And I just, like I said, man, this dude, he was wide open. He didn't give a fuck. And I always thought we got along. And so a story that I was going to tell you was, I don't know why people fucked with me so much, man, but I just try to do me and get better. And then,
well, they were jealous, man. They were jealous. They were jealous of you. I mean, you had what we didn't. You know, let's just be honest. I mean, you had a lot of
charisma. I don't know, man. You'd out charisma me all the time, Brett. You were a sharp. Don't sell yourself short, man. You were sharp back then. Brittany remembers.
I do.
He was sharp, man. When we were out together, dude, that was it. They used to think we were brothers.
Oh yeah.
They thought we were real brothers. We almost started to look the same and everything. They thought we were real brother. Like, this is Troy's other brother, man. This is you know what I'm saying?
You start making those decisions, man. With the friends that I had, I mean, they weren't really friends. It was just more of a strength with numbers.
Right. Well,
and that was the scary part of it. That was the stupid part of it. So seeing people that, you know, real sees real, and taking a stand and being a stand-up guy, you got to make some choices.
Yeah, and they're idiots. Now. Yeah, most of them are dead. Most of them are dead. So we were in. We were in a parking lot. He told me it was Fort Collins. I thought it was Longmont, but I guess he's right. We were in Fort Collins. I had the T-tops off, and this guy, I'm not going to say his name on here because he was a motherfucker, always a sucker punch, comes and hits me through the T-top open with a bottle and slapped me so fucking hard in the back of my skull. Sucker shot me. Didn't know Brett was in the car. Right? So I remember going forward, and I remember like looking at Brett, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, because I'm like, "What happened?" And then all of a sudden, Brett jumps out, and they're like, "Whoa, we're sorry, Brett. It's not with you." And you're like, "What the fuck's it for?" Like, it was just stupid, just to hurt somebody, man, for no reason, because they didn't like how he was living. It's that simple.
It was
my life, man.
So keep making enemies. Whoever's out there trying to get at it, keep making enemies. And all those motherfuckers that play your friend to your face or ask for your advice and then go behind your back and do it, just let them all go. It doesn't matter how close they are to you. It can be your family. It can be your kid, your brother. It doesn't matter. Let them go. They're a waste of time.
Cut them out of your life. Cut them right out of your life.
Exactly. Even if you think it hurts or someone's like, you shouldn't do that. They really need you. No, they fucking don't. No, they don't. Nobody makes someone do that to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm going to help you with your house, and I'm going to steal your snakes when you're not looking. I would perfectly know what I was doing if I did that to you, Jeff. And these people continually do that to people, and they stab people in the back, man. And I got to tell you something, man. Just cut them out, because you will always be sucked down and pulled off your chair the longer you keep them around. And I used to make that mistake.
Yeah.
I would feel sorry, man. I'm like, look, I just want to help the guy out. And then you're helping him 20, 30 times. You know what I'm saying? And then you have this whole, it's a nightmare for you. And sometimes you just got to go fuck it. And I'm learning now to really like doing crazy shit. And I really like to fear the unknown. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I want to fucking ride it out. What happens here? And look, I got to tell you, man, the more I push and the more we get out there, we've been having a really good time, man. I'm glad me and Brett reconnected again. I mean, I know he had his life things he had to deal with and stuff to get through and raise kids. And that takes a lot, man. That takes a lot out of a person. And I have mad respect for that. Brett, mad respect. And reconnecting, and me and Jeff hit it off real good. We were two dirtbags. I said eggs one time, and he got all excited. He's like, eggs, reptile eggs? I mean, we were friends. We were so ugly they didn't even let us in the park. We don't sell drugs here. We're a zoo. Blocking us out, won't even let us in because we look rough. So, you along your journey, man, you do it. And there's Seth. He just popped in, and he's been here. He's another one of my friends, and I think that it's been years, man. I mean, it's been it's just unbelievable. Like, it's just unbelievable. Let me jump up to this comment. So I don't know if you can see it, Brett, but it's big. It's from Lauren.
Oh yeah, that's mine.
Okay, I respect it. This is what we want on here because it's good to see that there's people out there that have a brain.
Yeah,
programming us to be dumb and domesticated. Media is a blessing and a curse. As a 19-year-old unknown doesn't fear of younger generations, especially now. Fear of a UFO, fear of being poisoned, fear of not making enough money to survive, which is very true on that. They scare the hell out of you, or sustain life. They scare you. To have simple freedoms. I mean, now celebrities, the people we idolize, are questioned to be the Illuminati and a part of a dark, sinister act. To believe it or not to believe it, it's all a mystery and all an act and all a distraction.
Yep. Weapons of mass distraction, man.
So
yep.
I talk to a lot of 19-year-olds in my life because I have to for work.
And what? Oh.
That's probably one of the smartest comments out of someone 19-year-old I think I've ever had. And I'm not just saying that, Brett, because it's your daughter. I mean, that's something that somebody in their 40s should be typing.
Yep.
And unfortunately, most of us don't.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm very intelligent, and my kids are very well educated. They are, and
you always were a smart motherfucker.
I'm not ashamed to say that, but I don't judge people who aren't. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we can honestly agree that there's a difference between being dumb and uneducated, right? A lot of people are just uneducated. That's why we have people like you. That's why we have people on this podcast. We have Brittany, we have people trying to get to the truth and educate people on what shit really is and what's going on, and to kind of induce some really good thought. Induce thought here. People, ask yourself the scary questions. Don't shy from it and seek it out.
Yes, she did.
And my kids are
married one.
My kids are like that, and I like them for who they are. I really like what type of people they're becoming. So
that's
yeah,
good, man.
Right there.
Yeah, and that's awesome. But that was really good to say that, and I do think that. So unless it's your fault if you don't get educated and you have the ability to, it's you. You're just a fucking loser.
Shit, I did it at
period.
Years old, man.
Yeah, but Jeff, you lived a rock star life, and then you decided to do something else. Good for you. You're a smart guy. But I'm telling you, unless you have mental issues where you cannot, it's not fair because you were born that way. That's a totally different situation than someone who's just lazy.
Oh, lazy.
And I'm sorry. And I think that I've always been a believer in this, and I've said it 1,000 times. I think schools also destroy people. I think schools try to make me and people like you, Jeff, or Brett, fucking mundane, and I'm not mundane.
Blocks, man.
I'm not learning about the goddamn the moth on the bark. I don't care about that. I'm already done. I know what it does. It's camo. Move on. No, you're going to do it because little Bobby can't get it. We're going to keep doing it in the class, and I'm going crazy because I want out of there. It's like I felt like I was in hell.
I got bored, and so I didn't do anything. I was just fucking,
you know what I mean?
School and get C pluses. It's like, why bother?
And Brett's here now, and he can verify. We grew up in that whole thing you've heard us talk about before, and even his kids may or may not be aware of it. It was called the Satanic Panic. Right?
Oh my God, dude.
So the only outlet we had was fucking jamming out to music, man, and those were, to me, those were our gods at the time because it's all we had because everybody else said no. Can't wear those shoes. You can't have a skull on your T-shirt. You can't have your hair like that. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. That music's for this. That music's letting demons in. Get the fuck out of here. That music was telling the truth.
It real.
It was telling the truth.
Put on airs. We didn't front for anybody. We loved what we loved. My fucking denim jacket with my big fucking Led Zeppelin airbrush on the back.
Hell yes.
Yeah, dude. Had the fucking Stairway to Heaven airbrush on the back. Fucking patches and studs on everything. And I'd go to school and it'd be like, oh my God, that guy, he's a punk rocker.
And I'm not going to direct this because the proof's in the pudding. I won't direct this to all yuppies, but I'll tell you this: you can go to a heavy metal show, and once you get there, everybody's pretty much becomes one. There's a respect there. I've been to plenty. I'm telling you, I know, right? And you may get in a mosh pit and you're beating each other up and swinging around and raging. And then at the end, you might have blood coming out of your face and your eye, but you're sharing a drink with that person. Great show. I'll see you next time. That's awesome. What's up, Holly? It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. She left me a voicemail, and I got to tell you earlier, her voice is freaking rad. And that accent you have, Holly, New Zealand, I was like, this is so cool.
That's the accent right there.
It is really awesome. But, so we would have that. But then this yuppie traditions, and you go around these weirdo guys at these college bars, and they're beating everybody up and raping women and all this kind of stuff. That didn't happen at, like, cruise shows and metal and our underground stuff. That didn't happen. We respected each other.
Women definitely dress provocatively, dude. That's why I loved going to those metal shows back in the day. You know, people just walking around. I'd have my jaw on the floor, you know, and some of the best were.
No, say it. We're listening. Say it.
I was gonna say some of the best were like seeing Iron Maiden when I was a kid. Fucking Sign tour. Number of the Beast tour. See, I had a kid come up to me at work the other day. He's like 25 years old, and tell me he wanted to get a tattoo. Dude, he wanted fucking Dio's "Last in Line."
Yes.
Covered. I was like, dude, you rock, dude.
Holy Diver
was my hero when I was a kid.
Holy Diver.
Fucking ugly ass hero.
I know, right? But here, so that's what I'm trying to say. So we would go to metal shows, and I can tell you this: we didn't tolerate no bullshit when we were younger, like they do now.
Yep.
We did not. You were allowed to be different, but you had to have respect. Period. End of story. One of my cousins was part of the colorblind skinheads, okay, which is a skinhead group that's anti-racist, and they were in that hardcore metal shit down south in the day. And when real Nazis would come in or racist, these guys would use brutality to make sure that they never came there again. And I think that's okay. I'm sorry, Brett. I think that's okay. You want to bring your evil shit down here? I shouldn't have to ask you nicely to leave. We're going to make you leave, even if it's in a wheelchair. That's how I look at it.
Oh, dude. All the time where I grew up, there were fucking tons of fucking white power skins, you know.
Yeah, and we didn't have that problem too much in South Florida because there were those bigger groups that didn't tolerate it, you know. Yeah. And they'd have different color laces in their boots and stuff, and they were called the colorblind. Look them up. There's a whole expose on them. The colorblind skinheads, man, it was awesome.
Yeah, dude. I had a lot of friends who were skins, who were, you know, two-tone, not racist, you know, black, Jewish, whatever. And we used to fight those guys all the time, dude. At some little club shows and stuff, you know, and they were the fucking biggest pussies on the face of the earth. I gotta say it. They fucking, you know, unless there were 5 of them. Guar, yeah, fucking, they're all at the Guar shows. I don't know why they like Guar. I like Guar. I mean, the Nazis.
Guar was fun. Guar was fun.
Unless there were 3 or 4 or 5 of them at a time to jump you, they were like, oh, I don't want to, you know.
That's awesome, Tammy. Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Fucking A.
And they would want to jump you. You're right. And that's what I'm saying. Or we'd have to go to these, you know, you'd work for a company, right? And I was always really different looking, you know. I mean, let's just face it. I won't lie about that either, man. I lived like a rock star. I was when I was a kid. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I had long hair. I did what I wanted. I was wearing Megadeth and Motley Crue and all that shit. And we all had a good time. And then Brett and I would dress up. We'd throw on some nice shirts. If it was cold, it'd be a turtleneck. We'd have the jewelry on the outside. It was the time. We'd go to these places and these fucking yuppies, man. They always want to start a fight or throw a beer bottle across the room or call you something or some slur word. And it was like, man. And all we did was walk in. Like, we didn't go in there like that. But because you're different and you look like you're having more fun than they are, they hate on you. But that never happened at our metal shows, which is why we do the Motley Croc show. And it's all based on how we grew up. And I'm trying to give that back to the youth, man. They were what we needed. I mean, Iron Maiden's best song that they did to get back at everybody was Holy Smoke. See, all the churches went out and bought all their albums up so they could burn it on this big national fucking revival. And it just made the album platinum. I mean,
yeah.
We started on burning shit lately with the fucking books and the records and the
let's burn Iron Maiden. Yeah, did you
ever added their whole account, man? Oh yeah.
And Iron Maiden wasn't even a satanic band.
Nope. They were just a bunch
of nothing to do with it, just because Eddie was a zombie. That's a devil worshiper.
That was probably my favorite shows I ever saw were Maiden back in the day. That was my band, dude. Loved
The funny thing was, I remember this very vividly, man. I remember bringing home a Bon Jovi album, Slippery When Wet, and my mom flipped out because that was the devil's music. But that was the time. It really was. And now she's
Because
like,
they
oh,
scale.
he's so handsome. He's so handsome. It's like, yeah, Mom, I remember what you said about him. Remember, that was the devil. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You know, my mom was always really cool about metal stuff. You know, she'd buy me records. You know, I remember for my birthday one year, she bought me all 4 Kiss dolls. I was like, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, and if you still had them now.
Oh, dude, I'd be a millionaire. And my Kiss radio that I ordered from fucking TV, I was expecting this big, huge thing. It was like this big transistor radio with a sticker on it.
Dude, that is
fucking loves it, dude.
I managed to, you know, I used to have to sneak into Motley Crue because I'm a big fan of Motley Crue. One of the things I always liked about Motley Crue was when they first opened up, they were over the top and they were like kind of what you would consider a glam band with makeup, but they'd be smashing guitars and jumping into the audience and beating people half to death and then get backing up and singing. And to me, I'm like, that's respect right there. So we would sneak the albums in. I remember I have the original because they changed it. So I have this black album. I have the black album, the Motley Crue album, the Shout at the Devil with the pentagram on it. Not the 4 pictures of them. I have the black one with the black pentagram when you tilt it. So I used to sneak that around, you know, because, you know, my mom was scared too. Let's just face it. And every time you turned on the TV, the 700 Club was preaching demons are coming into whatever. And then, you know, and it was like, we got to save your children and we got to demetalizing and all that stuff where they try to put you in boot camp. We're going to straighten you out. You sure you are. But we had it. And so I still have it to this day, bro. One of the coolest parts in there is there's this paper on the inside where you can, like, you have to write in to become a fan club and get, like, a shirt and shit. And it's all in there, the address, the fan. I kept all of it. And so it's mounted up on my memorabilia wall in the plastic, but it's the original album. And I got the original Poison open up and say, when it was first out with the tongue before they made it with just the black patches over it and then brought it back again. So it's an original print, not a reprint. You know what I mean? Because when
you got the neon one, right?
Had the big tongue, had the big long tongue. What's that?
He got the neon one, right?
Yeah, with the big tongue sticking out and all that shit. Green, and it had the hand like this and the green eyes.
Yeah,
and they were just a fun band. They never talked about the devil at all. They put that on the album because they knew it would sell. Smart.
Yeah. Sex sells, devil sells, dude. They give Satanists a bad fucking name. Let me tell you.
So that was the journey.
Really quick, I'm in a bounce because my throat's really starting to hurt, and I'm going to go take some medicine.
See you, Brad.
You're always sick.
The
I am always sick. I've been sick since December.
Yeah, you got to get that worked on, man. Get that fixed.
I know. I had 1 week.
It's called having young kids that go to breathing.
I'm telling you, I had 1 week where I wasn't sick, and then like 2 days ago, all of a sudden my throat started to itch, and now this.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I can tell you. I do know for sure that when you go outside in Florida now, the cars are all yellow.
Oh, because the pollen.
Oh, it took you a second.
It did. I was like, what do you mean they're all here? Where are we going?
This year you go out, you'll have like, I go out to my car. Both my vehicles are white, Brett, and it's like got a yellow tint all over it.
Oh, yeah. You got to wash that shit off fast.
So you're probably having some allergies to that because you're breathing it.
Yeah, it's allergy season too. Yeah.
I have no other symptoms. Nothing.
I know you don't have to. It affects everybody different, Brittany.
Oh
I have the same thing right now, like an upper respiratory thing.
Oh, it's awful. Like, I have so much throat pain. It like throbs and like trying to talk.
Well, go take your meds. Go smoke your bowl and go to bed.
I'm gonna go lay down.
Yeah, go smoke your bowl and go to bed. Stop lying.
I don't have a bowl.
We gotta get you one for your.
You call it whatever you want, Brittany.
Your pot.
I'm just kidding. I know. Go take your Tylenol and lay down.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Ibuprofen is what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Knock it off.
But
my dog's trashing me. Be right back.
Well, it's been good, Brittany. It's good to see you on here.
Take it easy, Brett.
Thank you, guys. Brett, I'll be in touch. So good to see you. What a great surprise. I love
Good
this.
to see you too. Give me a call.
Little family reunion, it felt like.
You have a good night, Brett.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everybody. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go take care of yourself. But yeah, Brett, so, it was kind of cool to talk about that. I mean, we can wrap it up. I just wanted to make sure that, we just talk about why I think it kind of molds why we are who we are today, all three of us. I mean, it really makes it.
Right, man. Same people we were in 1985.
I'm serious.
Well, it's true. I do want to touch base on one thing. I remember I am very, very cursed with a photographic memory.
Same.
And I can't. No, it really sucks because you go through everything again. I mean, you bring up that shit again. But, I mean, being friends with you, I think a lot of things, you pick up things from people, though, too. And I learned a lot from you, Troy. We learned a lot from each other.
Yep.
And we're two different people, but being invited into your family's home, seeing what great people that your parents really were, man, and to really reflect back now. And this isn't kissing your ass. This is the honest truth. Befriending your brothers beyond all faults.
Right.
You know, I protected Josh too.
I know you did.
And I did John as well. You know, you start to learn things and to see everything that your family's done. Your dad was a straight up gangster with me. He was awesome. He really was, man.
I appreciate that.
He entrusted me with his bike. I mean, this guy was great, man. Your mother was so sweet to me. And then I was like, okay, I see the dynamics of all the kids that were in that house. You know, and you learn from that. And see, and I didn't grow up in that environment. There wasn't a lot of that going on.
Right.
You know, so I learned a lot from that too, man. And you take that shit with you. I'm glad we're still friends, man. I'm glad that I don't think I'd ever not be friends with you.
Oh, well, I feel the same
It
way.
was just, it was just, you know, life happens, man. And shit happens to people all over the world. And, you know, you just deal with the hand that you're given.
Yeah.
But nah, man, I appreciate you. And definitely, I enjoy talking to you. We catch up on a lot of shit.
I know it's like we never ended. It's weird, Jeff.
I laugh, man. I laugh. And I didn't know how crazy this podcast could get, man. But I've got plenty of stories, bud. We didn't scratch the surface, man, on none of it. It was
I know,
like,
we will.
you know, I didn't want to leave a bad impression for anybody, but I mean, we really did live that life, man. I don't think people realize that. And, you know, it's something that
nobody can ever take.
God damn it, dude, I'm fucking proud that I grew up the way I did.
Fucking A.
I really am.
I know Kim's watching right now, and I know she's smiling ear to ear, isn't she, Jake? Because
I look at this shit now with some of these kids that are getting raised. I mean, I just took my kids out and put them on the four-wheeler, scared out of their minds. Like, you're gonna learn how to ride it. You're gonna learn how to fucking use a clutch. This is what's up. They're screaming and they're doing it, and we had fun. And you just don't see anything like that anymore. Everybody's so tied to their screens, man. I like that human connection. That's why I'm gonna come out and see you. I've got a couple builds I got to do, and then after those builds, I'm headed.
We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, I'm coming down.
Jeff. We'll fucking
ready,
roll out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know I'm always ready, man.
You know what? Thank you, Tammy. I realize that you shouldn't age us so well, but Tammy's a friend of mine from years back too, 20 years now. That's right.
Nice.
Where the hell does the time go, man? I mean, it's damn near 35 for me and Britton. I mean, if you think about how far back that goes.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I still talk to my friends from high school. I hung around with the same three guys all through high school, and we fucking had such a great time, dude. We all had fucking, you know, like 60s American muscle, so we'd fucking sit there with our cars, you know, three Mustangs and a fucking a Roadrunner GTX. We fucking love them.
I remember those, man.
That's what was funny though. But Troy had a 300Z, man. It was an 87, 88 half year, right?
Yep, that was a red one. Yep.
Yeah, it was a red one. It was like in between the two styles, verging, I think. But I remember you'd eat their lunch, man. That thing was fast.
Yeah, that was, dude.
We'd raise people. They get pissed off about it. They had their Mustangs and shit. I mean, some of them were quick, but I mean, you beat 85, 90% of them.
Well, I'm telling you what, them cars were
all day.
6 was fucking rad.
The Chinese make
believe it,
Japanese make cars.
They made some great. That Nissan 300Ts back in the day with the tops, man. They were curved down, had it real tight to the nose, bro. We had some good times. We ran. We were scumbags, man. Racing.
Oh,
but you know what? I don't want it any different. I'm glad I didn't, you know, do this. I'm gonna go get a career and be tied. I'm glad. If I died tomorrow,
glad I waited as long as I did.
But
I started. I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't grow up. I mean, after going to college and then going into the service, when I got out,
it just fine-tuned.
I didn't start my life until I was like 32 years old. I mean, I did what I wanted to do my whole life. My golden years, I did what I wanted to do, and I think that shapes you as a person. I think real sees real, man, and I think that's the way it should be. You're lucky if you got a handful of friends.
Yep.
In our age, right?
You know, and there's times
you know what I mean.
I do, and I think that when I think about some of the things, like, and you too, Brett, and I'm sure you too, Jeff. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Jeff was also a bail enforcement agent. You can imagine the shit he was doing. You know? So I mean, some of the things he did. I mean, but tell me this: there was times where I have done a lot. Like people don't understand how much I've actually done in my life.
Yeah.
Especially where I'm at, you know.
You ready to fucking pull up, dude?
Dude, I worked for, you know, SeaWorld. It was, you know, we were in the water with, I remember diving these little dolphins pissing me off. I'm like, motherfucker. But then I think, well, I'm in a pool with a dolphin and somebody else is flipping a burger, so I'm going to fucking just shut my mouth.
Yeah, dude, that's it.
There were times that I sat, when I worked for Medieval Times, Brett, I don't know if you know that or not, early on in Florida in the 90s, so I was a knight. I sword fought every night.
I can tell you the rest of the story if you want.
I was chivalry, right? And so I'm sitting on a horse and I look around at everybody and they're like waving, like, they're roaring. And I'm thinking, I do this for a living.
Yeah.
You know? And so I look back and that's what I have. And I go, man, this is so fucking cool. I got to do this. So, you know, I'm just happy I got to do it, man. Not always
be grateful and be thankful you had the opportunities to do that, because nowadays, man, a lot of these kids won't have that.
Yeah.
They won't have that opportunity, period. And that's the sad part, man. That really is. So.
Yes, and Arabian Nights, I know.
This year, I got my first job a month ago where I actually had to go talk to somebody in HR. You think any of the jobs I ever had a fucking HR?
No.
You're really awesome, dude. Right? You can tolerate some shit, Jeff.
The only HR I fucking knew was the fucking singer from the Bad Brains.
Yeah.
Or Henry Rollins. So
or HR Geiger. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. So we've got to do things that are, you know, and what you're, you know, Jeff working in the hospitals now, you're doing something that fulfills you, man.
I love it, man.
All right. So it doesn't matter. Nobody made you do it. You just decided that's what you're going to do when you did it. So, you know, I know that I get down on myself sometimes. I think everybody does. And I think, man, this is just bumming me out. But, you know, but then I think, yeah, but I'm doing this. You know, like at any given time, you know, I could just do some awesome things. And I just always wonder what people thought about that. Well, like if you're doing something that you really love, I mean, what would you rather have, man? You really want money or do you just want that experience, dude?
Experience and time freedom, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, I mean,
you guys have daughters. Both of you. I don't have any children. Both of you have kids. Would you rather be super wealthy and get rid of your kids, or would you rather just be with them? Like, there's so much more value to life and friends and family, man.
Dude,
my daughters are they're getting raised right, man. They are. They really are. I can honestly say that they're getting raised correctly. And you know what? They're prettier than I am, but.
I think we all.
They've got the
same.
Day, you might have given them a run for their money. Then
they got the same.
Like man's poison, dude. We were
I'm no slouch today. I'm just saying that.
Dude, I miss it. If I could have stopped at 20, I'd be golden. Like I'm stopping right here. I'll advance, but I want to stay here.
Take me back to fucking 1985, knowing what I know now, looking like I do now.
You would be the president.
Funny looking kid, dude. Seriously, I fucking all my looks came in my old age.
Ah, bullshit, man. It'd be like fucking Hot Tub Time Machine for all of us.
Oh my god, dude, I would love that.
you know, I can relate to that movie. That's why I liked it so much.
I know, I love that movie.
Dude, that movie, I'm telling you, dude. I used to go skiing all the time and shit up to these resorts and fucking. It was like living in the '80s movie.
Yeah,
you know? Like literally.
Man, you ain't kidding, like bro.
You know, and people watch that shit today. They're like, "This didn't really happen." I was like, "That's exactly what it was like." You know, I mean, we fucking chased around girls in bikinis that the fucking strings came up to their armpits. You know, fucking, oh my god, dude, Tawny Katane and fucking Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas. I mean, fucking
Tommy Lee had Heather Locklear.
Yep. I mean, do you remember that fucking? There was this old fucking poster of Heather Thomas.
That's right, Tammy. Say that again, buddy. We got some comments. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was saying there's an old poster used to have of Heather Thomas in a fucking pink bikini.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Right. She was on the fucking on the Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Lee Majors.
Yeah.
I love that fucking show growing up, dude. Loved it.
So, you know, like we always get to do what we love and you know, and you got to keep pushing forward to that. And you know, I mean, because, and I love it. I love that there's young people out there that really want to work with animals. I think that that's some of the coolest shit in the world.
Dan the man.
Yeah. Dan the man. Dan is really focused on animals and I respect that. He really loves what he loves. And you know what? He's out and about. He's out and about doing it. So, you know, and I just remember being at that level. And I've always been into animals, and Brett will tell you that, man. There's like, I mean, you go to Kmart and buy Cayman, fucking
Cayman. I remember that shit. Like $12, you can buy a fucking Cayman. and then
I
throw
remember
it
the first animal you had, man. We found a baby snapping turtle. That snapping turtle you named Wade. Remember that fucker?
Yeah, you know what? You said we found, but you want to hear a cool story about that? I still have him.
You got him?
I still have him.
Wait, no way, dude. Oh,
Yes, I do. I still have him. You guys want to see? You want to say hi to Slash?
What up, Slash?
Slash is the coolest, dude. I love that guy.
Oh, you're a sniffle biscuit. So you want to live your life to the best. Does he look like he's suffering? He's my boy.
He's the happiest boy.
Look at his eyes in my monkey butt. Look at that face. Show him your pretty face. Don't be a turd. Show him your face. Look, you're so good. You're gonna pull my beard. I know what you want to do. You want to pull my beard. He thinks Cody over here has a. When he comes in at night, so all my babies come in and go to bed in the house, for all you haters, and they have their own little condos. They sleep in at night. So when Cody brings them in, that's when we give them their children's vitamin because they need that, and their grapes. So he's thinking he's getting his vitamin and his grape now. So he's like, "Where's my grape? Where's my vitamin?" So when you get here, Brett, you'll be able to hang out with this and the kids. So I just kind of wanted you to see him. And plus, David Zeke loves him. Oh my god!
Fucking
hate that.
Troy's house is like going to a fucking petting zoo, an awesome petting zoo. So
I appreciate that, and he's just rad. But yes, I still have the turtle. I still have the snapping turtle.
Is it Tom?
No, he's a common snapper, and he got to be maybe almost the size of a football now because he was just a common Colorado snapper. But I still have him. I have him to this day. His name, yes, I forgot I named him Way.
Yeah, you did name him Way. But I remember we went down and got him a big old piece of fish, and he wouldn't eat it. And you didn't want to fuck with him too much, so he took that broomstick and he fucking snapped that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, we got Way. You'll have to see it still here. Yeah, my parents know that he's still there.
Yeah,
and then and then everybody loves my kangaroo. I mean, I have a kangaroo. I love him. He's so cool. I mean, keep doing you and whoever's out there, keep doing, man. Keep going out and pushing and it's a lot. This doesn't come easy. What any of us do, what I do here, what I have to support here is not easy, right?
Oh yeah,
it consumes a lot of my time and my finances, but it's worth it, man. It's so much
fun. It'll happen to you though, man. I mean, if you've got a good outlook on shit, I mean, you got to remember you're not your job, man. I don't care if you're I give my trash guy fucking coffee, man. I know him by name. I mean, they're just people.
We don't do that anymore. We have a big truck that has a robotic arm that comes through here and throws. So
man, we're still kind of old school in the mountains, but don't be afraid to close the gap with people either, man.
Nah, I agree 100%.
You know, don't be afraid to close the gap.
You really like. I mean, you just got to know, man. You'll know the click, man. You'll know the click. You'll know when it is what it is. You just know because their flaws never get in the way of your friendship, and what they do for you is greater than the chaos they may cause you. That's how you know, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I do, Brett, when I was younger, reading people's a thing for me. I'm really skilled on that. And I'm not going to be shy. I mean, that's what I do. And I watch that. I watch the behavior in people and animals, how they act, what they're looking like. They'll talk to you with their face. They'll talk to you with the way they try to look, or they want to say something, but they want you to initiate. So they'll use a particular face. So you use a question like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" Now I just go, "I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. I don't even care." If you have the balls to say, "Hey, I'm really uncomfortable with this," then don't come around me. Don't. And the victims, the constantly playing of the victim, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
You are your own problem, dude.
Woe is me.
Blamed on shit for so long. I don't do it.
We made victims. We didn't play victims.
Exactly. Now I'm not saying that I don't have emotions, or there's a time when I'm down on myself or whatever, man. Sure. But in order to do life, you got to be a thug, man. Like
you got to have a thick skin.
Either mentally or physically, you got to do it. You got to go, look, I'm cutting you off. You're destroying me and my growth. Why do I want to sit here in your fucking swamp? Fuck you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you really love me, you wouldn't hold me in this swamp. Period. End of story. So, you got to look at that. And then our friends, we make mistakes amongst each other, and we may do something that may make somebody like upset, or you stepped over the line. But just go talk about it, man. Be straight about it. Find out the root. You know what I mean? We lost Brett. Find out the root, because I just think that's important. I mean, that's really important. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I wouldn't trade growing up, all the awkward shit. I wouldn't trade any of that for the world, because I feel like I really lived a life that people can't live anymore. That's just not there. and people can make fun all the time and tell me I'm fucking old or that the 80s were bullshit, dude. It was
Whatever.
a good time because people did what the fuck they wanted and nobody cared. And now people are afraid to say hello to each other in the hallway. You know, I walk through the hospital. I say hi to everybody, dude.
Yeah, we're
Good
scary
morning,
looking.
hi,
Jeff.
how's your day?
You're scary, Jeff.
What's that?
You're scary looking.
I am scared. No, but I
Scary
talk
person?
to people in the elevator, dude. I'm that guy in the commercial that talks to everybody in the elevator. You know, I'm like, how's everybody?
Like, I don't have any drugs. I don't have any drugs. Don't talk to me.
Don't hurt
we're all
the
equal,
person.
man. We look pretty. I mean, Jeff's, you know, he's a. I mean, you can't trust a guy that has his whole arm blacked out. That's scary right there.
Fucking A, dude. Fucking A. You know, people ask me about that every day, and I'm
You know,
like,
there was a guy that there was a famous band. A guy did that. Remember his whole chest and his arm. Was he in the Manson band? Was he with Marilyn Manson? His whole bro, or was it Rage Against the Machine? All I remember is
might have been Rage.
he started from under his chin down his pec, his whole arm to his hand, black, all black.
Yep. Dude,
I thought it was badass looking.
I just didn't want to look at it anymore. You know, it wasn't anything offensive or provocative. It was just some 90s alien fucking Swiss cheese. You know the shit.
I do.
And I know you know. And I was like, this is bogus. So I had my friend black it all out. And, you know, I love it.
I don't know. I mean, I got some stuff I could probably, over the years, I probably, you know, don't want to look at anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have a solid colored arm, man. Like
I was gonna say, I want to fucking take from the inside. I got this little traditional rose and snake. I want to keep that and do everything else black.
So it like frames it. I got like a little cool red-eyed tree frog down here lives under my arm. He likes,
nice.
You know, and that shit sucks under there. I don't care what anybody says, Jeff. When you're like, oh man, your neck's no problem. That shit hurt like a motherfucker. When that got up on my skull, I was like, dude,
this shit right here.
Nah, man, my sternum hurt me enough.
Yep. Oh,
that sternum
on my chest.
And it feels like someone just like, hey, let me light this cigar and twist it on your sternum for 40 minutes.
Oh, that's what knuckles feel like, dude. Like they're putting out cigarettes.
I know. The worst part for me was over here on the side of my hand when they get in that soft meat. I almost became a Christian again. But yeah, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, it was really cool, and I'm glad you got to come in here, man. This has been awesome, and we've got like
we saw, meet you.
We saw people hanging on.
Good to meet you too.
Thanks, man. Welcome to the show. We're having fun.
That was great. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, we have some stories, Jeff. We could all sit here and share stories probably for the next 2 hours or more. But yeah, man, I'm happy. I'm glad you came in, Brett. It's good to see you, and it's cool because now you know a lot of people. I do have a history, and some of the stuff that I say, a lot of people are like, there's no way. Yes, we did it. I have witnesses, and that's it.
That's the tough part is trying to explain to my kids my life before that, and they wouldn't believe it.
They don't see you like that. But let me clarify. Let me clarify.
But again, I had to kind of elevate myself too to be that role model for them.
I understand, but you were never. First of all, Brett was never a scumbag, dude. I don't care, man. We partied and we had a great.
I won't hold it against you, dude.
But he was never a scumbag. Never cheating people. Never stealing. Never nothing like that. We just lived by our own rules, man. But that doesn't make you a bad person. To me, it makes you a better person.
I love that dirtbag life, dude. I really do.
Yeah.
I wish I could still do it. And I kind of do. You know, in the hospital, I do my own thing. That's the nice thing about my job is I don't have to deal with a lot of people. I deal with my patients. I assess them. If they need medicine, I prescribe the medicine so that I don't have to go to the doctor. You know, it's all protocol based. If they're fucking coding, I fucking give them CPR. I put the tube down their throat. I mean, it's fucking it's heavy duty shit. And I fucking love it, dude. I just love helping people out, bringing people back to life and shit.
And it's a challenge, and you beat it.
Oh, dude, before COVID, there's no way that I could walk through a hospital in scrubs with my hands, neck, and face tattooed. And now nobody gives a shit. Over my nose ring, nobody cares.
They need people, man.
Oh, dude, fucking respiratory is so understaffed. You know, we're working
they're actually taking real scumbags. Now that's great. I'm never going to the hospital again.
I think that I should just
kidding, man. I'm kidding.
No, it's true though, man. They fucking there's nobody though that looks like me where I work. There's a lot of the female nurses have tattoos, and stuff like that. A lot of the
cops here. I don't know about Colorado, but all the cops here do full sleeve and stuff. Yeah, I respect it. I think it's great. Just shows you got some history, man.
The fact that
what's that?
Yeah, I said, except the fact that they're cops.
Yeah,
I don't have anything against anybody that makes an honest living, dude. You know that.
We won't get into that. Most of them aren't honest.
But I think that
there was always two teams, and I was always on the other team, dude. There was the Cowboys, and there was Natives. I was always on the native side, dude. I'll tell you that. That's about as far as I can go with that there. And I've seen them do shit, man. The other team will play dirty and like put stuff in the saddlebag, but like, look what I found. Oh, Deputy John found this in there. I'm like, yeah, sure. I've never had that in my fucking life, guy. Cute. Right? Real cute. You bring that from home?
I wouldn't smoke weed that looks like that. Fuck you, dude.
You bring that from home, dude. Like, I'm gonna do that with my fucking who I am. I'm gonna put myself out there. Get out of here with that shit.
We found some
real, and then it was like, we're gonna let that go today. Yeah, sure you are. You are. You are. So I don't want to trade it though. I think we live good, and I'm excited, and Brett, I'm looking forward to you coming, man. I mean, like,
yeah, dude, we have a good time.
Oh, definitely gonna head your way, man.
Troy, we haven't been to the Glades in a fucking dog's age.
I'll go to the Glades with you.
Dude, I haven't been down there. Probably.
We'll bring Daniel and make him do all the hard work.
There you go, dude.
He likes touching snakes. Get out there and grab that, Daniel.
Right.
We'll do a YouTube channel. I'll get him in the Speedo.
Oh, dude, in the thong.
Oh, my God. That'd be awesome.
Pythons, dude.
He's down. He's down.
We'll call him Python.
Python. I love it.
The Adventures of Python.
Because he used to wear this bandana all the time. An alligator fucking snagged it one time. He jerked him around. So we used to call him bandana and stuff. And Bandaniel.
That's Speedo and Berms, dude.
Like Bandaniel's here.
Python man.
Yep. Speedo and Berms. It has to be a snakeskin Speedo.
Red tube.
And at the end, Dan, when you catch all the big snakes, you have to yank it up the front real high so your balls fall out. And you have to yell frog eyes for the end of the video. Fucking frog eyes, dude. I love it. This is what we were talking about, people. I may be moving. I've got some other contracts I've recently picked up. So once I get that stuff confirmed and stuff move forward, the show won't be on Tuesday nights anymore. I'm definitely going to move it to Thursday. So it's going to be a couple weeks, and I'll move it out to Thursday. And for this coming week, for those of you that are still here, I'm going to pre-record a show in between, so it'll release live on that night. But I will be up at the fair in the Ocala Fair, in the Florida Fair up in Ocala with Jimmy, and we'll be up there
on Tuesday.
All week we'll be up there from that whole week. It'll be a full week, and
this coming week
it'll release. Yeah, it's going to be. It starts on the 20th.
Oh, it's Monday.
21st.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll be there, and then we'll be back on the 26th. So I will do an air show. So maybe we'll just do we'll do a little
pre-record
rock and roll show, just kind of like talking old times, and we'll just pre-record it, and then it can release, and then anybody can watch, and Brett can tell his stories, and we'll have a good time.
I'm ready, dude. We'll broadcast from your house.
No, we can do it. That's fine with me. We can actually record it here, and then I'll put it on a pre-record, and we'll do it as like it'll be just like this live, but. It'll release live. We just won't be there watching it, but you guys can go through that for sure.
Good night, Katie.
So confirmation, you're still on every Thursday, though, right?
I will be on. I'm on every Tuesday right now.
Yeah,
for the next couple of weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks, it'll still be Tuesday, but I'll put an announcement out.
Okay.
I always put an ad out, but I'll definitely let you know privately too. Right. The people that are close, I'll say, hey, I'm doing it this way.
Before Katie leaves, I just want to tell her that we gave a shout to Bella last week, but you were already gone. We really appreciate, having a little fan, and it's fucking awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah, Katie, that's really cool. Awesome. I'm glad you stuck with us this long. So we'll do that, guys. So it'll be probably a pre-recorded show. The next one you see will be on a Tuesday. But then after that, I have some things I said that we're ironing up. And so what I would like to do is I would like to go ahead and move it to Thursdays. I think it'd be more midweek that way for everybody. Jeff's probably a little more available. And then it'll still upload. It still uploads to the YouTube channel. So our show's always on the YouTube channel. So if you go to the Motley Croc Show on YouTube, anytime, you click the live tab, every single show we've done since we opened that YouTube account, which, has been kicked off and banned 17 times and lost all its followers and got them back. It's always fun what they do to me. But every show's up. I managed to maintain them. So if you guys want to go back, and then we go back even further, and we're going to have some old stuff where we did some old shows, Brett, called Dick Pics. And I would bring girls in at these guys that we knew in the circle. We'll send them pictures of their dongs to them. And we would have them explain. So what's it like, man? What's it like to dick pics? Matter of fact, one of my good friends, Jake, who's here watching now, he was with us on that show, and he's in the background, man. It was hilarious. And so So it was called Dick Pics. So, and maybe I'll find a way to upload that, and we'll do it as a retro show because it goes back, I think, three years now, almost 4 years now.
Yep.
So
Nice.
when we first started, man, when it was just a cell phone and a clip-on mic, I mean, we started it from nothing, man. So it's just one of those things that,
Definitely. I'll start getting on a lot more. I've actually taken a break too, where I'm not working as hard as I used to. So I'm going to start living my life again, man. So look out, man.
I'll send you links. And we'll
I'm ready to enjoy my earnings now. So
that's awesome. And Jeff and I are always here, man. So we're always
definitely, man.
Jimmy,
Let's do it. Well, we're looking down. Like I want to check out some areas too, so I might come down early.
Okay.
And I've got some people I want to talk to down there too about actually possibly might even moving down there.
Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah. I'm getting sick and tired of fucking winters, man. I'll be honest with you.
I don't blame you. I'm bad here when they get to 40. I'm like dying out there in the ground. I'm like, it's 40 degrees.
Oh, dude, I had to survive the winter this year, and it was like Monday was really cold. Tuesday was colder. By Thursday, I was freezing, and Friday was gone.
40 degrees the first year before my body acclimated. I'd be out there in shorts, bro, to be honest with you. It's like negative 14. So.
Yeah, your body does acclimate. I lived in Boston before here, and it was freaking freezing.
Yeah.
And now, like I used to make fun of everybody getting dressed all because people here, when it's like 50 degrees or 60 degrees, they're in like snow hats and puffy jackets. And I'm like, man, that was the day in Boston, the first day over 50 degrees. People are on bikinis on fucking Boston Common. And
dude,
you bet.
When it's like 50 degrees here, I'm wearing a jacket. Fuck that. I hate being cold, man.
Hey, baby.
Well,
definitely. Well, you got a couple more fans. I think my daughter's going to get on too, and she's going to start watching.
Nice.
Hey, that's awesome. That's cool, and I love those comments, man. So keep up the stuff, and
smart.
The Motley Croc show on Instagram. If you have like a topic that you want to talk about, that way we know, and like it may be something we're not aware of. So if you have an idea and you're like, hey, I'd like to hear about this, or this is what I know, and you want to comment, let me know. Send that over so I can send it to Jack and everybody, and then we can evaluate it and go through it so we know how to conversate with you. We try to run a professional establishment here. So
no, I hear you.
Professional.
Yeah, it must be kind of hard to navigate all those conversations, man. If there's a bunch of people, and I get it, but now for sure, like if I'm not on here, like with you guys and stuff, I'll definitely be on there and I'll comment.
Yeah, but I'll still bring it in. But definitely, like I said, if your kids have topics or you have topics, always send a message through the week because I want to research some of that stuff. I mean, I learned some good things tonight from
absolutely
and everybody, and it's really good to keep that stuff going. I mean,
hell yeah, dude. Yeah, no, tonight was one of the better shows we've had. I got to say, it was a great fucking show.
Oh man, I guess that's because Brett's here, man. Fuck,
off the hook. You know, it's getting better and better.
Nah, man, this is me getting my cherry popped. So we'll see what happens later.
I think Daniel. I think Daniel's still watching. Daniel, did you want to say hi to Jeff real quick before he ends this show? I think he wanted to say goodnight to you, Jeff.
Let's see it.
It's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. I'm waiting, but
he's actually in my bedroom waiting for me right now.
I believe that.
He's on his laptop.
How is that? I mean, how is that possible, man? Are you gonna say goodnight? Come on in, man. I want to know how Daniel's in bed at your house when I have him here waiting on me.
Oh shit, dude's cloned. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up? I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, he wanted to say what's up to you before I ended the show.
When are we going to the Glades? I'll do that Python thing.
Hey, Dan, why is your head so much smaller than Troy's? I'm ready, dude. Python. I said, why is Dan's head so much smaller than ours?
He's young, man.
He's young. Little. I don't think your head grows very much. Yeah, Dan, I'm ready, dude. I wish I still had my Jeep.
Dude, whenever you're ready, let me know.
When you go down, man, that's where those big, scary pythons are. We'll go down.
They're taking over
the Glades. It's pretty fun, man. It's cool.
You can all your hair in my face, dude.
There'll be some cool shit. So.
Hell yeah, dude.
Well, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and end it up. I'm going to close it out. Right. So I appreciate you guys coming in, everybody coming on to the show tonight for sure, and all the comments we had and everybody hanging out with us. I always appreciate Seth. Thanks for coming in. Jamie, what's up? Katie, everybody. Dan, thanks for coming. Yeah, and all the support. And Brett, thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely. Anytime, brother. Anytime.
So we're going to sign out. I want you to, both of you guys, stay put for a second. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast. But good night, everybody. We're going to see you for the next couple of weeks. We'll still be here Tuesday, and then we'll probably end up moving the show to Thursday, and we'll bring on more guests and have some fun. So until next